Hello and welcome to a new Principal's Guide to Teacher Quality and School Climate. Have you ever wondered how teacher quality impacts school climate? Well, according to Go, it's not possible to separate the effects of other classroom contributors to student achievement. Peer effects, materials and books, and school climate can contribute to student learning at the classroom level. Here's 5 strategies that'll help you positively impact your school climate. First, set the vision. Get the right people on the bus. Put a stake in the ground. Keep your ear to the rail. And then lather, rinse, repeat. Remember that the first of your 5 strategies is to set the vision. Fabric and Satoya suggests that to build staff culture, you need to ask some fundamental questions. Next, you should wonder, what is your leadership personality? Are you an introvert, an extrovert, a jokester, a passionate preacher, or a calm crusader? What are your values? What teaching methods do you believe in? What are some actions you expect from your teachers, and what are you comfortable with? Next, think about what you can genuinely implement at your school level. Are there funding issues? Or some things already tried? Can you get staff buy-in? Think about what's real. Is that barbecue really going to happen? Are some team building activities in order? Maybe there's a more subtle way to reach your staff. Lastly, how do you want your staff to describe your school? Can they do it in a word? And how will you measure it? Bambrick and Toya suggest you should think as deeply and specifically as possible about the community you'd like to create. Your next step is to get the right people on the bus. Start by aligning your mission. Are new hires comfortable with it? And can veteran teachers embrace your ideas? Think about feedback. Are you able to listen to it and act on it? And is staff willing to listen as well? Is everyone on the team a good fit? What traits do you look for in new teachers? And have you shown your teacher leaders that you trust them? Your next step is to put a stake in the ground. Think about interviewing and hiring. What are your first impressions? What questions do they have about culture? Do they tour the school? Are you watching a sample lesson? And how do you follow up with them? Remember that the first weeks of a school year can shape the entire school year. Team building, working together, working alone, and off-site activities are important. Don't forget those new hires. You want to make them feel welcome. Don't forget to keep your ear to the rail. You want to be aware of those problems before they creep up on you. Maybe you can bring them up at a weekly staff or leadership meeting. Maybe you send out a weekly survey. Whatever you do, make sure you act on the data you receive. And be human. People's opinions change from time to time. Now, here's a few ways you can keep those steps going all year long. First, think about being thoughtful and purposeful in the way you communicate, both spoken and unspoken. Don't forget to always keep an open mind, or a face. Remember that you sometimes wear your emotions on your sleeve. Sometimes staff aren't looking for an answer. They just want to be heard. Don't forget to listen first before you ask questions. We've all done it. Sent that email before we wanted to. If you're unsure about that email, use a 24-hour rule. Come back to it the next day and see if you should still send it. When you communicate with staff, always use we instead of I or you. Remember, you're in it together. If your staff has new ideas, be willing to try them. Give them an opportunity to use their voice. Just say yes. When all else fails, go back to the mission. It's what got you here in the first place. All that's left to do now is keep it up. These 5 strategies are incredibly important. Leaders have to set the vision so everyone knows where to go. They got to get the right people on the bus, especially those that need to follow that vision. They got to put a stake in the ground and be purposeful in everything they do. And they got to keep their ear to the rail to make sure problems don't creep up. Then lather, rinse, repeat. There's 2 important dimensions leaders need to keep in mind: leadership and professional relationships. As we've said, it's important that leaders have a clear vision. But beyond that, leaders should also be accessible to staff members. And they should also be supportive when it's appropriate. It's important the staff knows your vision. Maybe it's part of something that you make visible in the staff lounge. It could be part of your handbook. Maybe there's a fun quiz you could make out of that vision. And maybe you could repeat it at every staff meeting. Whatever it is, staff should be aware of what it is and where they're going. Everyone wants access to the leader. It's important that you as a leader are accessible through things like principals chats or before and after school meetings. Perhaps you could drop by certain classrooms and stop in to ask when staff would most like to see you. It's important for a leader to be supportive of their staff. Are you lifting them up or tearing them down? Are you giving them enough professional development? Does the staff have the support they need to carry out your vision? And how will they do it? As part of the second dimension of professional relationships, are you remembering to be positive while you're in your building? Do you remember your open face? And is staff smiling on the way in? The second part of professional relationships is working and learning together. Are you giving the staff the opportunity to collaborate? When? Are they wanting to work and learn together? And are they building relationships while they do this? Just how and why should you continue to improve the two dimensions? Improving leaderships creates teacher leaders that can help you carry out your mission. Improving professional relationships is another way of keeping your ear to the rail and aligning your mission. Thanks to these experts for making this possible.